name is Jill Bennett. I'm the host of What's a Beautiful Life Anyway, and I'm here today to run through a checklist of how you can set up your own podcast. Podcasting is going to make you more visible for your clients, your ideal clients, and it's a great way to build your visibility and to gain respect. People are going to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And the more you can get out there and get people to know you, the more likely you are to be successful in your business. So let's get started. What we're going to talk about today is what to do first, preparing your strategy, choose a topic you can commit to, pick your podcast name, write a compelling podcast description, decide your podcast format, create your podcast artwork and music, purchase any equipment you need, choose a hosting service, record your episodes, upload and tell the world. So what's going to be in your strategy? Well, you need to gather all the facts. You need to think about what the purpose of your podcast is and identify the goals. For me, my brand is Living Beautifully with Jill Bennett, and my podcast is What's a Beautiful Life Anyway. And I'm all about interviewing guests who can just help people to live their best and most beautiful life. You can source any equipment you might require, you can create the plans and regularly review all of this. So think about it. What is it you want to achieve? Are you like me, that you want to educate people to live their best and most beautiful life? And if so, how are you going to do that? Who's it for? How do you have your ideal avatar, your ideal group of population, that your ideal target market, who you're making this for? What will it be about? Think carefully about it. And how often will you release an episode? You can't overcommit yourself, but you do need to be consistent. And what help will you need? There's lots and lots of help out there. I did it all myself following training, but there are lots of people who can help you out there. And if you'd like the name of one, then please let me know and I can pass you on some information. Choose a topic you can commit to. It needs to be something that fits your brand. It needs to be something you really are passionate about and you want to talk about. You can commit to at least 25 episodes. So it can't be anything that you've just got a slight interest in. It must be something you're really, really passionate about. And to help you get started on this, think of a list of 25 episodes. It doesn't need to be the exact titles, but just think of 25 things all linked together that you can talk about. Pick your podcast name. Remember, it's going to be the first thing that people see. It should be an extension of your brand. It will define your podcast branding and artwork. And if you're a personal brand, it should include your name. Apple and other directories are search engines too. So when people are Googling you or your brand or your business name, you want them to come up and your podcast to appear in that listing. So make sure it does link to your brand. Definitely, if your brand has your name in, then you want to make sure your name is in the podcast name too. But yeah, it needs to be something nice that really will attract people to listen. People you've never met before. Needs to be able to attract them to you and your business. Write a compelling podcast description. People are going to decide upon reading that whether or not they want to listen to your podcast, and you obviously want them to listen to it. So include keywords that your target audience may use to find content like yours. Write it for humans in your target audience. Start with something that matters to them, maybe a pain point. We know that people take action in reaction to pleasure or pain. So either make it something that's pleasurable for people in the title, like Living a Beautiful Life, or something that answers a pain. So how to overcome sleepless nights, how to get a baby to sleep through the night, something like that. And it is okay to talk about yourself, because you are the host and it's you, ultimately, you're your brand and it's you that you're trying to sell. Decide on your podcast format. Are you going to do interviews, or is it just going to be you? And there's no right or wrong answer here. How long will episodes last? Again, no right or wrong um, time here. Some people like to listen to short, sharp 10 minutes. Some people like to have a good hour to listen to, maybe when they're cleaning or cooking. And some people might like 2 hours. I think one of the most successful podcasts in the health arena is Dr. Rangan Chatterjee's, and his is called Feel Better, Live More. And his podcast episodes are 2 hours and sometimes more than that long. So there's no right or wrong answer here. You just need to think carefully about what you can commit to. And how often should you publish your podcast? Well, again, it doesn't matter. It could be once a week, once a fortnight, once a month. The key thing is consistency. If you say you're going to release an episode every week, which I do, you have to be consistent and make sure you do that. If you're going on holiday, you do it in advance and you schedule it. You may want to have series. So you may decide that you're going to have a series of 10 podcasts on getting a baby to sleep through the night, and then have a few weeks break. And then you might have another 10 series of how to potty train. You get the idea. So you can have series, a bit like you have on TV. You get a new series of Downton Abbey or whatever every year. You might decide to do that, but I would suggest possibly more frequently than once a year. Your artwork and your music is the next thing. Cover artwork should be a minimum of 1400 by 1400 pixels and a maximum of 3000 by 3000 in JPEG or PNG format. I use Canva for my artwork. I have a picture, a standard picture that is for my podcast page, but then I have episode artwork, and it's exactly the same piece of artwork every week, but I change the description, the name, and the picture. So it has a picture of my guest, her name, and a few words that says something about what that podcast is about. Again, I'm looking for consistency. I want people to see this particular color and layout and think, oh, yes, that's Jill Bennett's podcast. So consistency is key. Music at the start and the end of your podcast can make it seem more professional. I have a very short piece of music at the front and at the end, and I have voiceover intro at the beginning and the end as well. At the beginning, welcoming people, saying I'm their host, and that this is a podcast that blah, blah, blah. And at the end, I say, thank you for listening, and please subscribe. New episodes pop in every week. So have a think about that. There's lots of free music out there. I think I said Canva is where I produce my artwork. Free music you can get from Pixabay, where you can also get free images if you want to find some images suitable for your podcast. But you can also get free music there. There's lots of websites for free music downloads. So yeah, use that. And 30 seconds max. You don't want to put people off at the start. You want to jump into the content as quickly as possible. But I have the same intro and the same outro with every podcast. Again, it's aiming for that consistency. Purchase your podcast equipment. You don't need to spend a fortune, but it's very easy to actually do so. You're going to need a mic, a boom arm, a foam ball, and a shock mount, and a good pair of earphones, actually, which I haven't put on here. But you need to be able to listen in to the sound that's coming out. And I have a really good pair of Bose earphones that just happened to have been a present to me when I first started broadcasting on the radio. So I take my own earphones into the studio every day. You need a good mic. You can see the sort of thing on the screen here. I haven't got mine in front of me because I'm in my UK home and all my studio equipment's in Mallorca, where I live for much of the year. A boom arm is just that metal thing that attaches over the table and you pop your mic in it. A foam ball is like this, and it helps to stop the clipping that you will sometimes get when you're recording. And you also need a shock mount, and they normally come with microphones. You could get all of this probably for about £50 or £60, maybe a little bit more depending on, if you've got more to spend, spend it. Just get the best mic that you can. Don't worry too much about the rest of it, but the mic is a really, really key thing for you to have a good one. So recording and editing software, again, just remember to keep this simple. Use something you're familiar with. Do you already use Zoom? Well, stay with it. I was using Zoom before I started doing this, and I still use it. And the great thing about Zoom is that you can, you get two different recordings. You get the video and you get the audio. I take the audio out, I convert it into MP3, pop it into Audacity to add the beginning and the end, and take out any bits that have gone wrong. And the same with the video. I pop the video into iMovie. I use a Mac, so I pop it into iMovie, but there's lots and lots of different software that you can use. And then I use a video on YouTube because it's another platform. It's another way to attract people. It's another search engine. And it's a great one if you want to monetize your podcast and your YouTube channel once you've started to get a good subscription rate, a good following. Please subscribe to my YouTube and my podcast if you'd like to. There's some great information on there. So stay with something that you already know. I love using Zoom, and I'm recording this actually using Zoom as well. Editing software, the same applies. GarageBand or Audacity, iMovie, and all of these have lots and lots of free tutorials on YouTube. So it makes it all very, very easy. If you suddenly come across something and you're not sure how to do it, just Google it in YouTube and you'll find a video that will help you. And remember to try and reduce echo as much as you possibly can. You need to choose a hosting platform. You need to make sure it's simple to use and that there's lots of free training and good customer support. I use Buzzsprouts, and it has magic mastering, which is where they even out. So when you're, especially if you're interviewing over Zoom, quite often you'll be talking at one pitch and your guests will be talking at another. And you can sort that out in Audacity and other editing software. But if you've got magic mastering, it's going to do it all for you. And I know it's costing me a couple of dollars a month, that's all. A couple of US dollars a month. You also obviously want to have some helpful statistics. I love having the total downloads, and I get messages from them when it's reached certain targets. So it's really quite exciting when you start getting those coming through. Buzzsprouts, I tried two different hosting platforms when I first got started, Buzzsprouts, and I can't remember what the other one was, but I found Buzzsprouts much simpler to use. Also, they have a free, something like 13 part series talking you through everything you need to do to set your podcast up. So you can sign up for that free without even having any sort of paid platform. And it's so simple and so easy, and they'll talk you through everything that I'm talking you through here, but in much, much more detail. So I highly recommend that. Record your episodes. Don't think you've got to record it all in one seamless take. You really don't. Don't worry about messing it up. We've already talked about Audacity, iMovie, GarageBand for editing. You can edit bits out that don't work, so don't even worry too much about it. And then you're going to upload your podcast to the hosting platform. And the amazing thing about hosting platforms are, with Buzzsprouts, once you've connected once to Apple, to Stitcher, to Spotify, to Google Podcasts and all the rest of it, you only need to do it once. The platform is going to automatically send all your episodes out to each of those platforms every time you upload a new one. So it makes it nice and simple. Don't forget, you've got to tell the world. So I post a picture of my week's episodes artwork and a link to the podcast and to the YouTube channel on all of my different social media platforms, so that I let people know, and I encourage my guest of the week to do the same, to share all of the things that I'm posting onto their platforms too. So there you have it. You now know how to set up your podcast and your YouTube channel. And I've got lots of resources here, which I will make sure are available to you for everything from the hosting platforms I've mentioned, some YouTube training people to follow. This guy here, Ali, has some amazing ideas on passive income and how to get your YouTube channel working. Links to my podcast and my YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe. Links to Canva, Audacity, iMovie, GarageBand, and these are affiliate links. So if anyone follows these and decides to buy any equipment, I do get a small amount of commission from it. But here's the mic I have, the phone cover, the boom arm, the earphones, and a link to my website. So thank you so much for watching today. Please remember that being visible is the key thing, and podcasting is a great way to get your voice out there so that you make sure people really, really know who you are and can follow you. And thank you. I will speak to you later.